Are you sick of dieting? Well, did you know that you can break up with your diet? Today's guest, Holland Hawaii, is a cordon bleu trained chef turned vegan. She's a nutrition expert, two-time author, and mother living her dream on Kauai. She's going to share with us how you can divorce your diet and live healthily ever after. Welcome, Holland. It's so nice to see you. With a third of all adults in America being obese, over a third, how do they break up with their diet, get a divorce from their diet, and get more in tune with their body? I'm sure people would love to know.
Of course. Well, for me, going plant-based is what changed everything. It was about 17 years ago. I was 30. I had kidney stones, endometriosis. And for me, breaking up with the beliefs that I needed animal products, breaking up with the beliefs that I was taught what nutrition was and what we needed is what led me to feeling healthily ever after, as opposed to being overweight, having autoimmune. So I'm a big believer in we need to change the way we eat, that it's not the consumer's fault. It's the way the system was set up, but you can change the system just by changing the ingredients in your home.
Yes, and your new book is on pre-order right now, right?
It actually came out February 6th, so it is available.
And so I would love you to walk us through a little bit, step by step. You have a step-by-step program, and I think it encompasses everything, as well as how you started your vegan journey, etc.
Absolutely. So for me, I am a chef. I went to Cordon Bleu when I was 22 years old. I'm going to be 47 next week. And so for me, food was everything. I went to culinary school because I loved eating. But like we talked about, everything kind of changed for me. I had a lot of autoimmune issues and different things going on. And I found a book called Skinny Bitch that just changed my life and kind of showed me that maybe it was food overall and not just, one ingredient you pull out. And so from there, I actually wrote my first cookbook, which is how I became familiar with Jane. What's called Good Food Gratitude. And I have it here. It was 100 recipes that I used to change my life. But then when I started getting pictures from people, them making my recipe, I realized like how important ingredients are and how important for people to know what ingredients, because I'd be like, that's not my lasagna. Like, that's not the way it's supposed to look. And so from there, people would always come and say, oh, I could be vegan if I had you in my life, and it's like, well, no, you could be vegan or more veganish if you understood what products you should be replacing in your recipes.
Now, this also would incorporate not only the taste aspect of it, but also the health aspect of the proper nutrition. And you have that knowledge because of your background. You had your own restaurant. You studied as a chef at Cordon Bleu. So you are truly an expert. Let me just pop in a video of some of your food, and then I would love to go back a little bit and start with the first book, and then we'll come through to the second book. Is that?
I love that. Absolutely.
Great. That music is so cool. It makes me want to dance. And I love the fact that the last shot was the cover for that book right there. So
I know the watermelon cake is so amazing, and I feel like so many people should adopt it, especially for like first birthdays, different things where we really don't want a lot of ingredients. It's so simple to do, and it's absolutely delicious. And if someone wants something a little sweeter, creamier, you can always do a coconut whipped cream on the side.
You know, I want to ask this question now because we're looking at a watermelon fruit cake. Most people love fruit, but most people, these people that are not yet, have learned about how delicious vegan food is, they don't always like veggies. How
Yeah.
would you get people that don't like veggies, are really adverse to veggies? How do you bring them over to the light?
Yeah, a lot of people, I actually put up a meme yesterday that said, are you anti-vegan or anti-vegetable? Because I hit so much resistance on this. Like even the other day, I gave someone my cookbook, my older book of cookbook, and they were like, oh my God, that's so amazing. You wrote a book. And then they saw the word vegan and said, ugh, it's vegan. So for me, I try to let people know, like, are you anti-vegetable? Because I'm not just writing my book for vegans, I'm writing my book for everyone. Everyone could use more vegetables. The more people eating vegetables, I believe the world would be a better place. I believe people's bodies would be a better place. And definitely we know animal agriculture would lessen, which is absolutely insane if we talk about the real numbers there.
Yeah, and let's just go through those three for people that are watching that are not vegan. The world would be a better place if we ate vegetables. Tell people why you feel that way.
I mean, if I take it just from personal experience, I think it's one of the reasons like the vegan diet is so hard to quantify because it really did change me. First, it changed my body, right? Like diseases I had that I thought were life sentences literally started melting away. And so for me, number one, it worked better for my body. Number two is if you look at the numbers on the planet, what we're doing, what it takes for animal agriculture, definitely eating vegan is better for that. And then three, if we look at what we do to animals and we're willing to see that, it's an absolute atrocity. And I am not someone that went vegan for animals, but I feel stronger and stronger about it because I have to look at the numbers and see what's happening. So for me, the fact, people eat 7,000 animals in their lifetime. We have huge debates on overpopulation of human beings. If the animals switched on us and started eating us and the amount we eat them, we would be extinct in 17 days. So those numbers I can't ignore. And it is just a truth. There's no arguing of it. And I know everyone wants better, either for themselves. Like for me, I wanted a better world for my kids. They're grown now. I have a 24, 21, and 17-year-old. And I wanted to make changes toward that. And then also just for humanity, for our planet, for animals. The way we've been doing things is pretty barbaric. And I do feel there's a rising. But so for me, that's where it's so hard to explain to people why I'm vegan, because it really is mind, body, and spirit. I became a more empathetic, compassionate person when I went vegan. I was willing to look at things. It opened my heart. And so that's where I feel like it's kind of a hard lifestyle to sell because it really hits on all three of those things. We're not just talking about food and yourself.
In a way, I think people also are very much interested in health. So, and that's a big part of what you talk about.
That's why I have to force your diet.
Yeah. I want to go through now the how of it. And
Yeah.
I think with the new book, you talk about that. So let's just briefly hit on a little bit of each of those chapters and tell people that. And I'm going to go get mine right after the show, by the way.
Oh, I love that. So I thought it was really important because number two, I've been a dieter forever. I modeled when I was 16. I've starved myself at times. There's so many things to talk about, especially with women and weight loss. And what I started realizing is most people don't follow the diets that they are saying. They don't work long-term. Diets work short-term because we become conscious of what we're putting in our body, but it doesn't naturally serve us throughout it. And so with Divorce Your Diet, it's about eating the way you eat, but switching out the ingredients. Like, you know better for your body than I do or any diet person out there, right? But we do need a little guidance within it. So
let's stop on that one point because I find this extremely interesting. You just said that you know better than anyone else what you need. And I understand, intellectually, oh, yeah, I know if I eat too much salt, I get a stomach ache or whatever. I'm real thirsty. But go into that a little deeper because I don't think everybody really gets that point. And I think it's a very important point, an intuitive part of it.
yeah, like we have more food now than we've ever had, and we have more disease because of it. I mean, if I could tell you how many people have asked me about protein who have no idea what protein is. So, number one, it's getting educated on your body and what we need actually now, what we know through Google, through science of what we need now. And I believe science is ever evolving and changing, just like our bodies. And your body is a survival system. It's meant to take some hits, and we're trying to sell it like there's this perfect way to live where you're not going to have to look at different times. So like what I ate at 30 is very different than what I eat at 47. And that's just been a natural change within me that I've noticed. And I do not measure anything. I do not pay attention to what I put in. I just eat such a varied diet that it seems to work for me. And that's where, we have so many studies on epigenetics now. I mean, it gets so interesting if you go into it. But for me,
of course, epigenetics, just so our audience knows, is saying that it's not our fate, health fate is not determined by our ancestry, but rather by our environment and what we consume. Correct?
100%, right? Yeah. But there is a fact where, they believe all human beings were allergic to food when we came, right? And so your families worked in different ways to learn how to break down things. And like, we do see this in places where, someone can take something and then from a different culture eats it and really can't handle it. And so that's where it's kind of starting to know yourself. So I went gluten-free forever. I'm a big believer in giving yourself breaks from things because, we actually are on a system, circadian, there's seasons. And so I went gluten-free. I've gone fruit-free. I mean, I have tried every diet, vegan or not, just to try to change and manipulate my body instead of actually seeing what the body needs, what my body does best on. So like when I looked that I had mainly European descent in terms of things, like I added in gluten and potatoes because my body should know how to break those down, and it changed my life. And the thing is that I could be working with someone who's Hawaiian, who's never had those grains here, and they have big issues with them. And this is where I'm saying individually, you need to know who you are, right? I can take tons of salt. You can't. So if you're on someone's diet that's saying salt's amazing and add Celtic salt to everything, you're discounting yourself. And so to me, that's so important, is understanding, like, yes, we're all human beings, but we really are diverse, ever changing, and have a whole set of ideas that work for our body that we normally know. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I have another question. It's kind of how people try to snag vegans. They say, well, yes, that's true. I agree with you, Holland. But that means that I need to have meat. Some people don't. They come from I grew up in, let's say, Texas, and I grew up on, barbecue or whatever.
Yes. And I hear this all the time.
Discuss that, please.
Right. And so for me, it's like, if you believe you need meat, right? First of all, like everything should be an experiment on you, right? So it's not like, oh, I'm going to do this diet because it worked for them. Like, does this work for me? So like, I'm a big believer. If you have gluten allergies or you think you have gluten issues, give up gluten, right? If you think meat may be affecting you, you definitely should give it up and see how you feel. And so what I tell people is to slowly go into it. Like, look, before I went vegan, I knew nothing. Like, food was just food. Like I ate for what I thought I wanted. And so I have so much empathy for people who are there. But so my whole thing is like, if you're going to have a steak, like, why don't you try to have it with mashed potatoes with almond milk and olive oil and see how that does? And what if we don't put bacon on your broccoli and cover it in cheese sauce? Because that's the other thing is like eating out and these decadent foods used to be something that was special. You know, that's why going out to eat used to be so special, and it isn't anymore. And people need to see this. Like, you are eating foods that were meant for celebration once a year, twice a year, and you're eating them 3 times a day. And, you know, being vegan is very hard. It's not for the faint of heart, with the arguments you have to take on, especially if you're someone like me who's, you know, someone who's a proponent for changing the way you eat. So one of the things I've seen is that people are very scared to let go of some of the things they love. And with this book, I'm trying to show you, like, you can have your cake and eat it too. It just shouldn't have butter and eggs in it. Like, I went to a dinner party the other night and they forgot I was vegan.
Right.
You know, and they tell me they're very pro-vegetable, super pro-vegetable. They love veggies. You know, they're not like someone who's going to put me down for eating vegetables. And there was sheep's milk in the soup. There was salmon as the main dish. There were eggs in the dessert. So for me, and that's like, and they had Brussels sprouts and broccolini on the side that I could eat. There was some quinoa. But like, to me, I see it and I can't believe that like a sheep has been, like, this is insanity to me. Like, there's fish on the table and eggs. You have 3 different animal groups at one sitting. And that actually is a very normal thing. So that's what I ask people. Look at how many animals you eat, because everyone tells me they don't. And then I start watching you. Like, only if you tell me you don't am I like, actually you do. And so it's like trying to help people find a middle line with it, you know, because I know going vegan's very hard, right? And I want to help people with baby steps on it. But it's really getting them to look at the way they eat now.
Yes, we have a little squeaky friend in the other room. I don't know if you can hear that, but that is a pet I cannot control at the moment. But seriously, I think this information is so important. And I think another thing that people worry about, I'd like to have you address, is the nutrition end of it. Like, they're going to say, oh, well, if I substitute, you know, for my egg, am I getting the nutrition I get from egg? I know that's possibly a bad example, but you get my point. How do you convince them that they are not going to miss their nutritional, you know, needs?
I mean, a lot of times I tell people to do a Google search. Like, go ahead and do a Google search on, you know, what is in a steak or what is in a hamburger, and then go ahead and do a nutritional search on potatoes, sweet potatoes, spinach. And then in my book, I just went very simply on the nutrition we need. Pardon me, I'm a little sick from traveling too much. But one of the things I realized is, you know, the amount of vitamins, what we actually need is there. There's six nutrients we need, possibly 7 if they end up adding on omega-3s and omega-6s. But it's not a lot. You need protein, you need water, vitamins, minerals, fats, carbohydrates. And this is on like 4 billion Google searches. As of now, we all agree this is what the human body needs. And so when you start to look at that, you realize that you can't get that all through meat. And when you start looking at fruits and veggies, you realize they're powerhouses. Like, talk about the original superfood. And so to me, actually, most people probably aren't getting the whole nutrition. Like, look at this dish on here. We have zucchini, sweet potatoes. We have potatoes, microgreens. Actually, it's on a spinach almond tortilla. There was a delicious cashew cheese over this. And so if I was able to write up to you everything that was in this compared to like a steak on a plate, there is no competition. And so, wow. You know, and we talk about protein, being protein deficient. I have never paid attention to how much protein I put in my body for 17 years as a vegan. I am allergic to soy, like actually allergic. So The protein fight for me is such a strange one. So that's the other thing. Like, I don't know one person who's protein deficient in America. I have heard every disease there is. People have, IBS, people have, Crohn's disease, kidney disease, diabetes. I have yet to hear of someone that's actually protein deficient, but there's been so much marketing around protein in the diet world that people concentrate on it. So a lot of times
I'm sorry. Let me jump in and ask another question here because it's related to this. So what would you say are, like, I hear a lot about, I got to get my aminos.
Oh, yeah.
What would you say are the key for someone that wants their mindset to ease? Other vitamins you have to supplement with, even if you're eating a phenomenal diet, which most of us cannot do that every day unless you're a chef,
who wants to cook for themselves.
You can't do it every day. So what do we need to supplement with?
Yeah, so a lot of times D2, I live in Hawaii, I still take D just because, we use so many body products. I mean, we could go into the diet being everything on top of it. And then also B12, I supplement at times. I've been known to take iron here or there. For the most part, my blood work looks good. But those are three of the main things that vegans do have to supplement if they're not eating a varied diet or having any sort of symptoms. And, a lot of people think that vegans are nutrient deficient, but I would argue that there are so many people that are nutrient deficient that are on the standard American diet. And so, that's where it's like really paying attention to your own body and learning yourself, right? And that's the thing, like you can have symptoms. Literally, we have so much information now. You can search your symptoms and find out what vitamin you're low in, what process is needed for that. And so it's fascinating to me.
Yes, that is a really fascinating aspect of it. Now, people, if they get your book, this is going to take them step by step through the process of, give yourself a break, all the things we talked about, taking it easy and all that. It also goes into the nutritional end of it and helps people a little bit with how they replace the things they love with something else that's going to actually be better for them.
100%. And kind of learning it, right? We live in a very non-organic world. Chemicals are sprayed on all our food. I'm a huge proponent of organic as well. I feel a difference immediately when I'm eating non-organic food. And I really can't deny that just for myself. I do give a lot of helpful hints on different things when it comes to nutrition in this book. But I think the biggest thing is we do a complete replacement guide of everything you could have in your kitchen. So I go through the cabinets and I can give brand names. I can't give the actual product, but the brand name for that is what I recommend. And there's so many products coming out, as you know, like, especially in LA. LA's vegan heaven. But it lets you know, replacing something as easy like pasta with an organic pasta. And like, I love Montebello, but giving people quality products like Vegenaise is so much better and such a better quality product culinary wise than any mayonnaise out there.
So and you were cooking with it, it's better? Easier?
Oh, 100%. First of all, it's a refrigerated product, so it's going to be superior. Like, it does not have shelf stablers on it. They're using higher end oils than you would get. You actually have a variety of ones. I can get a soy-free one, which is amazing to me. But as a chef, it's superior. It's unbelievable. And so there's so many products out there that I believe are superior in plant-based. Also, the amount of ingredients we're taking in with our digestive system. Like, if you have digestive issues and you eat places like Popeyes or Round Table or, I can say any fast food chicken place or anything, we did a study on them. I believe there were 89 ingredients in a chicken sandwich. And I could make that same chicken sandwich very similar to it, probably with like 16 ingredients. And a lot of that is just the sauce.
Okay, wait a minute. That's my favorite thing ever. I want to hear just a little bit more about that chicken sandwich.
The
vegan.
mushroom.
Yeah, just a little bit more.
Yeah, because that's like one of the things too. It's funny with blueberry muffins, I saw the same thing, like warehouse brand ingredients, grocery store ingredients, or if you make it at home. And like it's unbelievable. But so like the chicken sandwich for me, it just depends what breadcrumbs you want to use, if you want to dip in flour. But for me, with anything, I always do a flour mix, and then I dip it into either water or a milk. And that's going to create almost like a glue. And then you want to put it into whatever breadcrumb or flour, again, if you're just doing flour. So depending on if you like it crispy, you would want to do crackers, chips, or breadcrumbs on it. But if you like it more just coated with that kind of flour, it's just dipped in flour, non-dairy milk, flour again. You want it seasoned, obviously. Salt and pepper make everything incredible. And then
What's the patty made of? What is the chicken?
You can do anything, but normally mushrooms. Like we just did a lovely one at Cafe Gratitude for my book launch, and they had lion's mane. I believe we used oyster mushrooms for this one. And you can do any. There's so many different types of mushrooms. Like if you want it shredded, you can just use the fork in it to have a shredding, dip that. You can slice it anyway. I tend to like thinner. This is why it's so important, right? To cook for yourself. I prefer a thinner patty, whereas some people like it really thick. And so just depending on which way you want it. And then I would do a bun. Rudy's, if you want to buy it, they are vegan. Always look at the ingredients. You'll be amazed at how many animal products you're getting unknowingly. Oh. Right. So a lot of people don't know.
It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy to eat those.
And you're eating the same flour all the time. Like at least some of the more organic companies are sourcing flour from different places. Like as a chef, unless people are buying things from local farmers, pretty much every restaurant you go to, whether it be 1-star to 5-star, are using the same company to buy all their products from. So the flour you're getting at the 5-star is the same, most likely, that you're getting at the 1-star. Yeah. And so that's another thing that drives me nuts is like you can go to a doctor and be diagnosed and they say, you know what, just eat fewer calories. And they never look at the quality of food. Like just eat 2 of those Kit Kats instead of 4. And that will change the problem without looking at the actual problem is that, you know, your Kit Kats have tons of chemicals, tons of animal products and are putting you, you know, into disease.
How does that affect, I believe it does affect, the chemicals affect weight gain.
100%. If your body doesn't know how to flush it out, it's going to create fat cells, which are going to store it.
Detox very important. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think moving into anything slowly literally gets you there faster. You know, I have a lot of friends that are overweight and like I'll see them and they're like, "Oh, I'm on a soup cleanse." And I'm like, "A soup cleanse?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm doing like, you know, soup 4 times a day." And I'm like, "God, that would be hard for me." And I already, you know, people think I have a very small diet already. So it's so funny to me. But that's where I'm like, no, replace it with a plant-based option. And then I hear from people all the time that they're hungry when they're on vegan. You can't overeat vegan food. Like have another salad. Like I don't even care if when you're starting, you have 2 or 3 Beyond Burgers to get you to that point. I believe it's healthier than having 1 cow burger. And what it does, especially a cow burger on a non-organic bun with, you know, mayonnaise. I won't say like the brand name. But, you know, you look at a lot of it and quality isn't talked about.
Before we go, I do want to mention your sister-in-law, the Singer Sanctuary. But also, I just want to ask a couple more questions about your lifestyle. But the one thing that comes to mind immediately, if someone wants to buy the books, which I do, if they're going to start, which book should they start with? Let's briefly answer.
I would say definitely start with Divorce Your Diet.
Really? Okay.
This is going to explain to you why you should eat this way, the effects of eating this way. It will teach you way more about your body to understand why you should be eating this way. And then I think, and it gives you the ingredients that I recommend. And then I would move over to this one because then you'll be able to know how to make it, change it to what ingredients you like. And that's my whole thing. You know, people care about traditional foods, healthy holidays. Like, here's my vegan Thanksgiving book.
Oh,
Literally is based on every one of my mom's recipes. She passed away 20 years ago, and I have just veganized them. And I will tell you, I get all the ahs, all the hits, the dopamine drops from eating it, you know, because we have emotional
I
connections.
love that.
And so that's the whole thing. Like, you can have your traditions and your recipes and just make them healthier, you know, and
You know,
hopefully.
I think I love the not the, thing that you say, there is no one size fits all. Don't feel guilty on your journey. Take your journey, learn your way, learn what you like, what you don't like, learn how to cook for yourself as a vegan. Probably one of the most important things, right? Would you say?
Oh yeah, I think there's like, besides it being that I think everyone should go plant-based, I definitely believe people should start learning how to cook for themselves. I think it's such an important journey in health, because you're really taking it into your own hands and you know what you're feeding yourself. Like, we really we're in a relationship with food.
I'm seeing some comments now. Let's go through and just maybe address some of them.
100.
Let's start with this one. Are the biscuits at Popeyes vegan? Gee, I don't know.
I actually don't know that. I do know from looking at their other recipes, whether it's vegan or not, I probably wouldn't eat much from there.
You
You
can
know,
Google it.
I wouldn't use it as a normal food, right? I always say 9 out of 10 times I choose the right foods.
Yeah, you just want the most simple ingredients. Would you say it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, and like making your own biscuits is really easy. Like, just depends on if you want to do it yeasted, but you know, it's flour, baking powder, plant-based milk, a little vegan butter, and salt. So I
So
always
Paige Parsons Roach asks, what plant-based milk do you like?
I am an almond girl, but I've been vegan 17 years. So when I made the change, it was either soy or almond back then.
Mhm.
But I have to say, like, besides people not loving oat milk, I am starting to really love oat milk. And like I said, it's so important for you to know your own body, because people are telling me it's poisoning me. But I feel great when I take it. So I'm going to trust my body over someone else's opinion.
Maybe some of us have a little horse ancestry.
I
We like oats because I like it too. I'm just kidding.
know I do great with it, but almond is my OG.
Oh, Paige said you have a gorgeous background. You're in Kauai. Yes. I was going to show a video. I do want to show that now. But we have a couple more. Before I show it, let's just show one more because I know this person and he is trying to go vegan. He's working his journey. I'm ready to see the replacement. I need all the help I can get. Yeah, coming from a meat background. So I really feel for him because he's trying really hard, also wanting to lose weight. Will your book help him?
Oh, I think so, 100%. I mean, when I went on this journey, I was eating so many other foods. Like I said, it should be slow. I'm a much simpler eater 17 years into it than I was when I first started replacing everything. I don't even recognize pictures of myself from when I was 29. And, you know, I'm a woman, so in America, so I definitely have, you know, things on my body. I'm not going to say like those have gone away, but I have not been overweight since I went vegan, and I don't, you know, I do cleanses at times if I feel like I've shifted far this way, like if I'm eating too much, like Plant Power when I'm in LA.
Yeah.
I'd be allowed to order oat milk shakes at like 11 o'clock at night, but for the most part, I've stayed really within my health, and I fluctuated in my 20s all the time. I was pregnant with kids, but couldn't lose the weight, and definitely I definitely believe I'm a different Holland standing here than if I never made these changes.
I feel exactly the same way. My compassion level changed. I began to actually have more compassion for people as well as animals. And also the whole thing about I was to the point of being bulimic, a former actress, so I want to keep my weight down. And
Yeah, you'll love this book.
I will love the book, absolutely. Let's watch this video here about your life in paradise. I love that. There you are on the beach. And I saw some of the earlier ones, I should say, on Instagram where you were showing people that, hey, it took me a while to do this. So you showed in the beginning you were having a little bit of a problem and then you were getting better and better. And I love that because you were showing people, hey, we all start at the same place, you know?
Yeah. And also, as a woman in her 40s, people are telling you that, like, you know, you can't do new things. Like, I learned how to do the splits and learned how to do headstands at like 42 is when I started. And so that's the thing, like, break up with your beliefs that you can't do things. Like, I have better control of my body now than I did when I was 29. And I do a lot of it for fun. Like, I do Pilates 4 days a week because I enjoy it, but I'm not someone that's going to run a marathon. I am not an athlete. I just like learning new tricks, you know, and I don't take it very seriously.
I think the key to staying young is to continually learn and push yourself. And particularly physically, when people hit about 55, 60, it gets a little, especially if you haven't kept up, it gets a little bit more painful, but it is the critical time. Would you say exercise along with diet is so key?
I need both of them for my mental health. I definitely, and in terms of keeping up your body and being able to do new things, 100%, you want to surprise yourself. And I definitely have found my brain loves learning new things, and you need to keep it in it. You need to have challenges and goals. In this book, we go through a lot of that. Like, why do you want to lose weight? What is your reasoning for it? What's the goal you have for your body? Because without goals, we really can't measure where we are, you know, and maybe the goal is to cut back half on animals. Like, I want to support anyone who's willing to look at some of these problems we face with our bodies, with the planet, and with animals. And anyone that's willing to, like, you know, dip one toe in, I just want to be there to support on this. And I'm a huge believer that your life can get better with plants.
Well, you certainly are a great example of that with your life there in Hawaii, your life in paradise, and your travel and your blogging and writing and authoring cookbooks and how-to books, how to live better. Your second book. I want to we're almost out of time. I just want to give a quick plug to our network. If you have not yet downloaded the app, please do so. We have amazing award-winning programming here. You will enjoy yourself, you will learn, and we have a lot of cooking shows, we have reality shows, we have series, so please go to watch.unchainedtv.com and download the app for free and support our network by subscribing.
If anyone knew how hard your team and Jane work for this, when I went there 4 years ago, I just couldn't believe the level. Paige was there. We have Lindsay now and Jane. And just if anyone had any idea how much work you guys put into this to bring the information. So I just want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being on. I really feel inspired. And I hope a lot of people do. And I hope a lot of people buy the book. I personally feel it's going to really help me to talk to people, you know, working with Jane, etc. I'm constantly talking to people about being vegan, and I love the ammunition it's going to give me. Let's just, before we go, we'll go back. I'll give you a last word here, but I do want to just briefly talk about the Sanctuary, the Singer Sanctuary.
Oh, my sister.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's actually about 30 minutes outside of LA, and it's just so amazing. Shadow Hills is this incredible kind of agriculture community you wouldn't even know existed. And Erica was a lifelong vegetarian, probably went vegan about 15 years ago, right around the same time as me. And she decided she wanted to start a sanctuary. She actually is a school teacher that just wanted to do something amazing for animals. And it's unbelievable watching it grow. And talk about work. Oh my goodness, how hard she has to work, feeding the animals, getting the animals, keeping everything going. it's just a testament to how amazing people can be and how incredible people can be to animals. So I'm super proud of her as my sister-in-law, but also just as a human being. And I want to get more people there. She needs more support, more volunteers, more money or donations toward money.
Well, I agree. And you know what? I'm going to put up the website right here. We are going to go there. I will go there personally and film because Shadow Hills is not far from here. And
I love that.
And we will try to help her, get the word out for her.
Yeah, and she has so many different animals. She has goats, sheep, she has pigs, pot-belly pigs, geese, ducks. I will say the sheep's my favorite.
I'll tell you what, I was looking at some of those guys and they are adorable. I'm trying to bring this back.
They all have personality. They are so funny.
Oh
going back year by year. Oh my God. And it's the dog.
I know. If you go to the Instagram page, we couldn't play it because of copyright music. You can see the personalities of those animals. Like, how about the sheep that just came and she's like, hey, this place is cool. And she's chasing the boy around. I mean, the story is right there for you. You have to go check out their Instagram.
It is. It's amazing. And you wouldn't believe how many people get farm animals as pets that they go and rescue because people don't know what to do with them or how to give them a life. And Erica's been amazing. She'll find a partner for each of them. So none of the animals are alone. So the sheep has a sheep, the goat have goats, ducks have ducks, pigs have pigs, and they all just kind of live together in harmony.
Oh, that is so awesome. Well, we're going to definitely cover that story. I can't wait. So I'm going to give you last word. Believe it or not, we're almost at the end of our time. So anything you want to add we haven't covered?
I think what I want to cover is that you really are in charge of your health. You have a relationship with your body and with food, and how you feed yourself is what's going to determine your cells, how you're aging, whether you're overweight or not. It's really the only control you have in your life. And so I think it's so important for people to start looking at how they feed themselves, because most people are very unconscious to the relationship with their body, with this planet, and with animals.
Awesome. Well, Holland, thank you so much for being on. Thank you. I encourage everyone to get your books. Start with this one, Divorce Your Diet. I absolutely adore it. And please come on again and tell us how you're doing in your life in paradise and all the other tips and tricks.
I'd love to do, like, if we took in calls for people's favorite recipes, I'd love to do a show where we're veganizing those to show people what I do in the kitchen and give them some real stuff for the field.
Oh, we could do a kind of in the kitchen story. Yeah, that'd be great. So more stories with Holland to come. So stay tuned, y'all, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Thank you so much, Lindsay.
Thank you, and bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for watching.